Hey guys, it's been a while.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
Oh my gosh, we've been having a hard time getting together with summer, and I think we said that last time too, but
Kids, husbands,
exactly. Just summer.
life.
Yeah.
Summer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And our kids are still at summer, basically vacation.
Yeah.
They start school for a couple more weeks. So
Yeah,
or
exactly.
month.
For a month.
It'll still be like that for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we are finding time though to get together and process kind of things that have been going on, and lots of stuff has been going on.
Yeah. Major breakthroughs for me.
Yeah.
I know
So like
kind of like what we always talk about.
Yeah.
Being the Hare and just always just like.
She's
right
fast.
by.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
Fast. It's just like, but then it's nice because I feel like I can still process some stuff throughout the week, but there's still big things that happen, but yet it's nice to be able to just process it and just practice what I've learned.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can handle it all.
Yeah, whereas before I don't think I could have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. I was listening to something today about when you do something. Where was I reading that? Or maybe it was on Instagram. I don't know. I'm totally going to get it wrong. But it was something about there's a moment it was like a word they used where when you're doing the work and then there's the word that pops up, it's like vulnerability or something like that, is your opportunity to actually practice your whatever you've learned. And like I said, I'm getting the word wrong. I don't remember what it was, but it was something like that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I have no idea where that came from, but anyways, a little scatterbrained right
now. Yeah,
no,
I mean, a moment of insecurity. I mean, that's the thought that came in for me. It's like when you're kind of like, oh God, I don't know what to do. Then you're having to practice all the things you learned.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you're saying that, I was just thinking the other day, there's a situation that came up with my daughter. I'm totally switching gears here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I caught them, my two girls, at midnight on their devices. And they are supposed to turn it in at 9:30. I wasn't able to fall asleep right away, so I went out and had a little snack. And I heard them giggling in their room, and so I went in there to see what they were doing, and they're on their device. And my older daughter, the very, what's the word? A perfectionist, and people pleaser, takes a lot after me. Was like, oh, sorry, Mom. Yeah, we'll put it away. I know that was bad. We shouldn't have been doing that. My younger daughter, facing the wall. What, Mom? It's fun. She tells me, and I was like, yes, Kinley, I know it's fun, but it's late. Well, we never get to do it at night. And I was like, you play your game all day long. So night now too?
Yeah, right, exactly.
And she's like, well, it's really fun, Mom. And I was like, yeah, I know it's fun, but let's turn off the devices and, it's time for bed. So she's still playing her game, and I was like, well, girls, I'm just, I'm a little disappointed that you chose this path, but we'll talk about it tomorrow, But I left the room. The old me would have been like, give me that device, turn it off, you're in big trouble, you're going to lose it tomorrow.
Right.
Like, just the whole, authoritative mom,
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was just kind of like, giggling because Kinley being funny and just be like, well, it's fun,
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so funny because, I can see why she would think it's fun.
Right, exactly.
And then I left and was like, okay, and then I forgot to go do something, and I came back, and my older daughter, being the little people pleaser that she is, she's sobbing in her room because she knows, I'm so sorry, I knew it was wrong, I should have turned it off, and I said, oh my gosh, I said, stop beating yourself up. What are you doing? I said, no. I said, it's okay. I was like, you're a teenager. You're gonna break the rules. You're gonna do stuff outside of the norm. And you knew it was wrong in the sense of not wrong, but you knew hey, probably not the best idea.
Right.
Probably should be sleeping right now. And you didn't, but that's okay. This is a safe place. It's a safe environment. And I now have to teach you, girls, how to then remember to listen to the inside voice and say, probably not a good idea to be up at midnight playing this game. And me having to remind you that, I'm not going to punish you like I did before. Because what good is that? I said, you're already punishing yourself. Look at you.
Yeah.
And I said, please don't punish yourself. I said, it's not good for you. I said, you're not getting anywhere. and I said, can you just let it go and we'll talk about it tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. So she was able to calm down. And then the next day we had a great conversation about it, and she ended up going and doing the work. She got like a little, she said, Mom, can you print out some worksheets for me? And I was like, sure. So she printed it out, but she did them all her own. I didn't assist her at all. I had assisted her one at a time just to kind of like show her how to do it. She went in and she did several, and the next morning she goes, Mom, I did the work last night, and she said, I feel so much better. And I was like, that's awesome. And she goes, and I realized some things, and yeah, and this and that. And I said, what's so beautiful about this is I didn't have to tell her.
Right.
I didn't have to be the parent to be like, this is how you're supposed to do it. This is how you're supposed to behave. This is, like she realized on her own that she didn't like that feeling.
Right.
That she didn't like having to be up and get caught or be on her device that long. And she's always told me, she's like, Mom, yeah, I don't like being on my device that long. But she also had the little inclination to be like, I don't really care. I want to do this, like rebellious.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And I was like, hey, that's fine. It's, it's okay. We all have that. Just recognize it, notice it. And then the next time you want to do it, just go, do I really want to do that? How did I feel about that? So she just...
Yeah. No. I was just going to say that's really interesting because a couple of things came up for me, like as you were talking about this, because we've kind of talked about this before with our kids as far as just like, how do we parent? How do we guide? Do we have strict rules? Do we do we kind of let them do what they want? And then how do we guide them? And I would say I'm more of a, there's rules because there are things that I believe that are good for your development and for your spiritual development and for that facilitate the growth that I would like to see happen in your spiritual, mental, and emotional life. So, and right now that's what I believe, right? So then I feel like it's my job to communicate that to them and have the expectation that they should try it and live that way when they're in my house. And then if it doesn't work for them, when they go out, do something different. And so, I mean, it's really interesting because as you were talking about your youngest saying, well, it's fun. Like what? It's fun. Like for me, it's like, okay, there's an opportunity there to talk about, and is that what we're supposed to do in life is just, because part of me is like,
fun stuff.
Part of me is like, yes, absolutely. You should have joy in life, but is that deep joy? Is that the kind of
really giving
fun?
You fulfillment?
Right? Are you expressing yourself? Are you being creative? Are you, I mean, these are all like, I think really important conversations to have. With our kids.
It was a beautiful thing because then that next night we sat down and had a family conversation about it. And I said, I want you girls to think about what you really love to do and like the creative stuff and all of that. I said, do you even know? And they're like, no. And I said, what happens is we get so distracted by the devices. And I said, I am guilty of that too.
Exactly.
And I now know when I'm doing something and I'm on my phone or, looking at social media, I have to check in with myself and be like, okay, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Are you escaping from something? Or you just really want to relax, just constantly checking in. And when I spoke with my younger daughter about that, well, both of them, that night, 2 pages full of things that bring her joy. And I was just like, she goes, look, Mom, I posted it on my wall. Isn't this awesome? And I was like, yes. I said, see, when you are faced with boredom or faced with not doing something fun in that sense, if you think it's fun, you're quiet, you're with yourself, you find out really what you want to do. At your age, I could never have listed all those things.
No. Oh my gosh, how beautiful.
It's just so cool.
And then the way you responded gave them space to save face and do what they ended up doing.
Exactly.
Which was like kind of self-discovery, deciding whether that worked for them.
Right.
Instead of being like, you guys, you never do this, you're not listening, you break,
and that's
it's like all this stuff, that we've all said to our kids. It doesn't allow them to save face. It just is kind of like, okay.
It's kind of demeaning too.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like putting them down and demeaning, like, you don't have a say in this, you need to do what I'm telling you to do, and then, the punishment of like, well, I'm taking this away.
Right.
And then yeah, you're right. That leaves no space for that loving, creative time for them, for me, whatever. But it's almost like stops that whole process. When we as parents come in and as authoritative, it needs to be this way.
Like, and it's supposed to be this way because these are the rules.
Because these are the rules, exactly.
Instead of the next day, so beautiful, you're like, we'll just talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You had a chance to kind of like let it
Decompress.
flow.
Yeah,
They had a chance to kind of figure out how they felt about it. And then you come together and you can say why you didn't like it or why you don't think it's helpful for them or whatever.
Absolutely. It's such a nice, calm way to approach it than being so emotional in the moment. And I just remember that's how I used to always be, was so emotional in the moment.
Right.
And you can never get anything across. So
yeah, I mean, because what they get from it is never what you say. That could be useful or true or whatever. It's just that, I feel really bad. I feel small. That's what they're getting from it when you're emotional and you're yelling at them.
Right.
So, I mean, it's so good. It's funny just helping them to listen to themselves and listen to what makes them feel good. My son, my youngest, went on a trip where he was like outside the whole time. And he, before the trip, was like, Mom, I'm really excited because I'm not going to be on the iPad the whole trip. And I was like, oh, you think you'll be able to handle that?
Aware of that? Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm like really looking forward to it because it was the summer and he had gotten in the habit of playing the games, right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, yeah, like I hope that it's what you expect and that you do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So he did, and he got back, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to stick with the not being on the iPad.
Wow.
And I was like, cool.
That's awesome.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
And so then every day he would count. This is 9 days without the iPad.
Wow,
this is 10 days.
So cute. And it gives him his own encouragement, his own strength and confidence.
Yeah, and instead of being like, I'm so proud of you, it was like, well, how do you feel about that?
Exactly.
And just kind of like let it be his.
Yes.
And so then like on the 14th day, it was boring around here, and he was like, man, Mom, I really want to get on the iPad. I was like, I get it. Yeah. I understand. He's like, but I don't want to. But I don't know what else I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I was like, I know. So what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And he was like, I kind of want to get on the iPad. And I was like, okay. And then he came to me like 30 minutes later after he'd been on it. And he's like, man, I'm really mad that I got on the iPad. And I was like, you know what? We are all playing that game.
Grace.
Like we all are. I mean, how many times have you heard me be like, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be eating.
Right.
And then the next time you see me eating cake, it's like, it's just, what makes you feel good. And then you fall back and then you love yourself. And then you keep trying to make the choice.
To love yourself the whole way through
exactly.
Because we do make mistakes. We make these choices that we think are bad, but at the same time, it helps us have that realization and that awareness of being like, oh yeah, how did I feel about that? I didn't feel so good with that. So maybe next time I won't choose that.
Right.
Or if I do, I'll give myself it.
Exactly.
As this gift or this reward or whatever, to allow myself to just that forgiveness. So.
But that's the process we're trying to teach our kids, right? Because they're always going to misstep. They're always going to fail, just like we always have. And it's just like giving them permission, being humble, and being like, I do that all the time. You see it, and you just have to forgive yourself and move on and keep trying to do what made you feel good. Just tap into that again. But you're right, it's a process, but it's so cool that you were able to turn that into something that worked for both of them in different ways.
They both grew in their own way. And I love that I was like, I can now practice this. So yes, I was really fast with all of this, but like I did it for myself. But now I know I can incorporate it in all of my life.
In the moments where you were emotional.
Exactly.
Where you're just like, oh my God, I want to get into this old pattern, but wait.
But knowing that like, it's all okay. It's all good. And that they're so gracious too, to know that like, oh, we have to have our family meeting, our family talk. But and I even told them, I said, don't worry. I said, this is not a serious talk in the sense of like, you have to do this and this is what I saw and all this stuff. It's more of just, hey, what do you think? How do you feel about that? And then let's come up with a compromise.
Yeah.
Or just talk about it or whatever. But it was so nice to be able to have those conversations with him now.
Yeah.
There's no stress. It's not serious.
Right, exactly. You're just processing what happened and figuring out how each of you wants to come to it differently.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really awesome.
Cool. So
Yeah.
I know
So
that totally went.
yeah,
another direction.
we're gonna start this video.
I didn't plan on that, but hey, that's what happens.
That's how it ends up working out. So anyway, okay, good stuff. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bye.